Call this meeting to order today, Nelson County Fiscal Court, Tuesday, May the 7th at 9:06 a.m. We will go into executive session at the end of the regular meeting per KRS 61.8101B. Deliberations on the future acquisition or sale of real property by a public agency, but only when publicity would be likely to affect the value of a specific piece of property to be acquired for public use or sold by a public agency. That will happen at the end of our regular meeting. There will be no action today on that. So we have some special people here today. St. Joe's 4th grade. There's 2 4th grade classes. You have Miss Amanda Bradley, the teacher, and then Katie Garrett. And they asked to come up and, Katie, you're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes, sir. If it's okay with you, we're going to do everything that we do in the morning to start our day with you all, if that's okay. Pledge, Peace Builders Pledge, and a prayer.
Good, that's great. Everybody please stand. Go ahead back even a little bit.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I am a peace builder. I pledge to praise people, to give up put downs, to seek wise people, to notice and speak up about hurts I have caused, to right wrongs, to help others. I will build peace at home, at school, and in my community each day.
In the name of the
Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen.
What do I usually do after that? The playground?
They wish.
All right, thank you all very much.
Exactly. Thank you.
Thank you. Tell them I'll say no playground.
Bless you on your seat.
Step by it.
Great job, guys.
Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
Just watch your court.
I would like to have a copy of that pledge. I couldn't hear
Yeah, I
it.
couldn't.
I'll be happy to give it to Mr. Hutchins,
Okay.
for him to give to you all.
Most enthusiastic players we've had in here.
That's good. That's right.
Now it's awful quiet.
It's pretty well managed, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Very well. I have, today is Ms. Sheckles here.
Yes, she's awesome.
I've got she wants to talk about Springhaven, the Springhaven Domestic Violence Program, which I guess you're the director or
I'm the outreach director.
outreach. You want to come up
Yes.
and give us about 5 minutes or whatever you can do and let us know what, we had a meeting one day and I guess it was, I don't remember where we're at now.
Human Rights Commission.
Human rights, and then
Thank you.
she's been head of this program. It's talking about, we've got the Career Center there. We've got a lot of different organizations in the Career Center there that helps with a lot of abuse and so on. And so she brought this up, which I wasn't even aware of it. So I asked her, and she asked to come here and talk about what's available. Go ahead. Sheckles, go ahead.
Good morning. First off, thank you, Judge Executive, for allowing me to be here today, and you got the memo. You and I are dressed alike. Thanks for being with me.
Yeah, that's right. I did.
And to the magistrates and to the other local county officials, good morning, and to my fellow Nelson Countyans, good morning. I am Shonna Sheckles. I am with Springhaven Domestic Violence Program. I've been with that program for 23 years. I'm the Director of Outreach Services there, and we service the Lincoln Trail Ad District, where Nelson County is part of the Lincoln Trail Ad District. And so what I do, I provide advocacy and support in the legal system for victims of domestic violence that cannot afford attorneys. And so in our other 7 counties, there's one of me also for victims of domestic violence. We have a brick and mortar shelter in Elizabethtown, Kentucky that services everyone in the Lincoln Trail Ad. So, I wish that we could find another word for shelter, because our shelter is a temporary home away from home for victims of domestic violence. And so people come to us, we can house up to 36 clients comfortably. And if you're in our ad district, then we are obligated by the laws of our coalition out of Frankfort, Kentucky, to house people in our Lincoln Trail ad. So sometimes we have to pull out air mattresses and cots, but that is okay as long as people are safe. We serve men and women, and of course our children. And so we've had, in my time there, we've had people come in and stay 5 minutes. We've had people come and stay 18 months. So what we do with the shelter program, we provide, of course, advocacy and support for them while they're going through their situation. We also help with finding jobs. We help with finding apartments, just getting people back on their feet and let them be in charge of themselves, because so many times victims of domestic violence are not in charge of their own thoughts, their own place, nothing. The perpetrator is all about power and control, and they have been controlled for a number of years. So I just wanted to give some quick statistics also. Kentucky, we're all about basketball here in the state of Kentucky, and we always want to be number one. Whether it's UK, whether it's U of L, we always want to be number one. But what we should not want to be number one is being the leading state in domestic violence. Kentucky is the number 1 state where domestic violence is concerned. So we really, really need to have our politicians do something about that. And I've said this to politicians before, and they're like, well, what can we do? I mean, we can't make people leave. No, you can't make people leave, but it could be an easier process. We need more shelters. We need more advocates. We need more people in the community and on the streets to help people that are going through situations. Victims of domestic violence go back in their situations between 7 and 12 times. And that is a lot of times. Family members get tired, friends get tired, the police get tired, everybody gets tired, but we cannot be tired until the victim becomes tired. So we just have to be there for that support. 1 in 4 women in their lifetime will be a victim of domestic violence, and 1 in 7 men. And yes, there are men that are victims of domestic violence. Our society says that men should not cry, they should be strong, they should be all these things, but men are human too, and they are victims of domestic violence as well. In Nelson County last year, Judge Kelly, and I know that's my phone, I'm sorry. Yeah, Raymond, getting that person turned off. In Nelson County alone, 70 domestic violence orders, over 70 domestic violence orders were signed by Judge Kelly to help people get out of their situations. And kudos to the Sheriff's Department. Raymond and his staff are always willing to help victims of domestic violence. I'm able to coordinate with them. If we have a victim here in Nelson County and they don't have transportation, they will get them transportation either all the way to the shelter if they have the manpower, or to the county line, and then the Hardin County Sheriffs will pick them up. So in my 23 years, he's been the best. He's been the best about him and his staff helping victims, and I really, really appreciate that. Also, Justin Hall's not here today, but he has allowed me to come into the jail and provide domestic violence counseling and classes for the women in the jail. So that is a plus, giving people the strength and the knowledge that once they leave that situation, they don't have to get back into another situation. So, the judge told me I got 5 minutes, so I'm gonna be respectful. And so at Springhaven, if you know anyone that is in a situation, please have them reach out to us. We have family advocates in the shelter that are there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So you can call this number that I'm getting ready to give you, 270-769-1234. That again is 270-769-1234, and we can help victims of domestic violence get back on their feet, answer any questions that they might have. Our house is a safe environment. We have a fence around our property. We have cameras all around our property. So we're able to make sure that we can help people stay safe even when they don't know how to stay safe. So again, Judge, thank you so much for allowing me to come. Thank you all for your attention.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Also, I have today is Carl here.
Yes,
Mr. Carl Barney. Is how you pronounce that, Barney?
Barney, that's right.
It's like Barney with a V, Barney.
That's right. Ernest P. Worrell.
He's with, Mr. Barney is with Operation Unite, and they've got some programs about I guess, drug abuse, and probably some other substance abuse he's going to talk about, so I asked him to come today, and they're having an event. You got that paper. We're going to have an event. You're going to discuss that too today.
Absolutely, yeah.
He came and met with me, and I like the program, and one of my goals when I got elected was to try to get into these schools deeper, and the middle schools more heavily and stronger, and get some programs in place to help. And on that subject, real briefly, we hired a special detective with the Raymond's department to help curb the drugs. I mean, the agent's done a tremendous job. I've proposed another detective special agent to go into the sheriff's department this year in our next budget, trying to help fight this drug problem in the county on all sides. And just like what she was saying earlier, Ms. Sheckles, we got the career center down, they got all kinds of programs for treatment and help. So we're trying to catch it on the front end, the back end, and I would say you'd be on the front end helping these kids learn not to do it. So go ahead, sir.
My name is Carl Varney, and the organization I work for is called Operation Unite. Just a brief rundown. 2003, Congressman Al Rogers, who is the congressman for the 5th District, Southern and Eastern Kentucky, realized that we were the epicenter for the opioid epidemic in Eastern Kentucky and decided to do something about it. And so Unite was formed. Unite is unlawful narcotics investigation, treatment, and education. So we have a law enforcement that build drug trafficking cases with DEA, Appalachian HIDA, and local law enforcement agencies. And then we have a treatment department. So before insurance ever paid for anyone to go to long-term residential treatment, people didn't go to long-term residential treatment. They couldn't afford it. So United started providing vouchers for people to go to specific facilities that met our criteria. And then we started our education component, which is made up of 33 community coalitions for each of our counties. And we give money to them every year to do drug prevention programming within their own communities. And then we started what I do. And so my job is I go into schools with specific prevention programming. A lot of times it's one-time assemblies. That's an easy way to say it. But what we like to do is go into a classroom setting and stay there all day long. The best part of Unite is that we're free. We offer these services free. Schools don't have to pay for us to come in. For speakers to come into schools, usually it's thousands of dollars on specific subjects. And so we don't ask for that. We're funded by the state. And because we're funded by the state, we know that if it's good enough for the kids in Harlan County, it's good enough for the kids in Bardstown. And so we started bringing some of our services. We started with Bloomfield a couple of years ago to bring our mobile classroom, our education trailer, where we do a program about addiction. It's really the pathway to addiction, starting with nicotine and ending with fentanyl. And so it's an education, a broad education on drugs. This past couple of years, though, we have been really concentrated on vaping, not just nicotine, but the other substances that we're seeing in gas stations everywhere, Delta 8, Delta 10. It doesn't matter what they call it. It's all synthetic. They call it Dolly Parton moon juice. Makes no difference, right? It's all the same junk. And we're seeing a huge problem in our schools. And I'm sure that some of the schools here are also seeing that problem. There's not one high school that I've been to the last 2 years that haven't had ambulance calls to that school because of these things that are sold right in our gas stations. And so we want to make our kids aware of that. It's hard to train parents because you can't get them to come to anything, which is one of the things that makes this camp so great. We wanted to bring this to Nelson County for free. It is a one-night, 3-hour basketball camp. Jared Polson, who played for the Cats back in 2012 on our national championship team, is going to do the camp, basic fundamentals for any school-age child that would like to come. Every one of them is going to get a basketball. Every one of them is going to get a t-shirt. We're going to feed them hot dogs on the grill. We're going to give away a couple of goals that night. And it's just an opportunity for the kids in Nelson County or surrounding counties. It doesn't matter to us where they come from. Just to give them an opportunity to be around some positive influences and to have a really fun night. And then what we don't tell, of course, I guess I'm telling now because it's on TV. And so we are going to do a parent presentation that night as well. So when all the kids get into the gym, we take the parents out so Jared can get them organized. And then we're going to talk about vaping and fentanyl parents that evening. It's going to be a great night. And I want to invite everyone to come out and just to witness what we're trying to do, because we want to bring all of our services at some point to Nelson County. We believe in what we do. We believe it's effective. And so we want you all to be a part of it as well. I want to personally invite all of you magistrates to come and judge and let us know when you get there so that our president can acknowledge that you all came to camp. I think it would be a really good thing for these kids and for their parents to see the support of their elected officials. So, also, Judge, I don't know if I want to get to talk to you after this or not, but on Monday, I would like to invite you to come to Bloomfield. I'm going to be doing one of our presentations for their 4th and 5th grade. It's on internet safety. It's why internet safety is important. And so we're going to talk about being safe on the internet and cyberbullying, but then we also talk about drugs at the end, because a bully is a bully. And somebody who's trying to offer them drugs, they need to consider that as the ultimate bully. So it's a really good program, and you're welcome to come and check it out.
Monday coming?
That's right, the 13th at 1 o'clock and 1:45. And I've let
What grade levels are you?
4th and 5th grade.
Same grade as those children
That's right.
just in.
That's right. We also have vaping programs for 4th and 5th grade as well.
Is vaping the problem at that young of age?
It is.
It is.
Yeah. And so and my specialty is middle school and high school. That's my wheelhouse. You know, I like talking to these kids as well. But when I'm in middle schools and high schools, and I tell them that I have a program for 4th and 5th grade about vaping, they kind of look at me like, and I say, do you know why 4th graders are vaping? Because you all are vaping. And so it helps to hit home a little bit. But if we start with that grade and maybe even younger, we'll see an effect, because every time I get into my vehicle, my 8-year-old says, Dad, put your seatbelt on. And so we understand that through education, we can change the culture. And that's what we try to do with Operation Unite. And so we just want to share it with you all. We believe in it, and we believe it's important.
Well, that's our goal, is to get them in all these schools here, and we're going to work together and try to accomplish that. Anybody got any questions for Mr. Varney today? I'll see you Monday, and if you got any information you want to keep sending out and passing out, I'll hook you up with all these different schools and try to get a meeting together and all that.
I appreciate you, sir.
Thank you.
And just one more thing, so there's no pre-registration for the camp. Just bring them about 3:30, and we're gonna register them all on the spot. So I hope there's 400
Date
kids
for
there.
that?
Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah, it's on the flyer.
We got the flyers, but they.
It is June the 6th from 4 to 7 o'clock, but like I said, I think it's gonna be a big camp. You may want to get there a little bit early.
Nelson County High School.
At Nelson County High School, that's
Yeah.
right. Thank you.
Everybody know the media, I don't know if this thing's operating or not. DOG's operating, so you can tell everybody, Mr. Booth.
And I'm available for interviews as well. If you, we want to promote it before the camp on your media, that would be fantastic. All right. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Magistrate.
Approval of minutes, Magistrate, you've got the minutes from I think it's 2 court meetings.
I'll make a motion to approve both sets of minutes as provided.
Second.
Got a motion from Adam, second by Jeff. Any more discussion? Motion. All approved? Motion carries. Bills and transfers, Carol had some additional bills in there also. I don't know, was there any transfers?
Yes.
Let's see,
One more transfer to the chief.
yeah. Anybody got any questions on the bills list for Rhonda or comments?
I make a motion to pay the bills, transfers as presented.
Motion by Jeff, second by MT. Any more discussion? All approved? Any opposed? Motion carries. We got the KEP approval. This is for log steel. We discussed this at the last meeting.
Can I leave again?
You should.
I'm gonna
He wants to know that you're recusing yourself.
I'm recusing myself from this.
Keith could have a possible conflict of interest, so he was removing himself. So there won't be any questions. And
I'll make.
this abatement that we had, I'm gonna let the audience, real quick, Brad, explain, I want you to explain this.
Oh, okay.
A little bit for the public.
Yes, so as a normal course of business, any corporation or any company that comes into any county in Kentucky asks for incentives to try to get the best deal that they can to move into whatever county that they're moving into. Part of this is tax abatement. The state offers state tax incentives, rebates, or actually their credits against their corporate income tax. And part of that is a local buy-in. The local government has to agree to rebate a small portion of that. So what they've asked for in this instance from us is half of our occupational tax for the next 10 years. Now, our occupational tax, as you know, is capped at $75, so it's a very small portion of their overall, package that they're putting together. So they've asked for it only on the 32 employees at the distillery proper itself. It will only be on these two, so if they have 100 people, it's still only on these 32 people for a max of $75 per employee. So that accounts for about $2,400 a year that we would collect, we would normally collect. So they're asking for half of that to be rebated.
4,000.
What, for 10?
2,400 a year.
Per year?
And then over 10 years. So the net effect of this over 10 years would be $12,000. So what they'll do is they'll pay that just like they normally would, then they'll send us a request and ask us to rebate that back to them, whatever the anniversary date is, I would assume, so.
The previous judge had signed an anticipated agreement to get this done, so we're following up with that pledge that they made, and I don't want to go against anybody's pledge that they made before. So I just want to explain that in detail for the public.
They are required to meet certain standards, a certain amount of jobs, certain amount of money that they have invested. Log Still has far exceeded both of those, so they meet all the criteria to get this rebate. So.
And the way I understood it, in order to get all the state benefit that they've requested, we have to do this to abide by that.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I make a motion to approve the Log Still occupational tax abatement proposal.
I'll second.
Motion by MT, second by Jeff. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Pass that to her, please, sir. Next on the agenda, we have a PUD application number 2722 for a R4 multifamily residential district. It's at the south side of Freeman Avenue, and the north side of Woodlawn Road, 450 feet northwest of Fenwick Drive. Lot number 348, amended division for the Leader Brown Estate. This zoning request was approved by the Planning Commission. They had 2 public hearings, and we had a, way the process is, we had an aggrieved person that asked the fiscal court to take this up and hear it at our level. The only discussion that can be made is amongst the fiscal court, so there will be no public discussion on this by KRS 100 statute. Open it up to the court.
Reviewed the application and then the staff's finding of facts, also read all the transcripts from the hearing. Seems like didn't seem to be much of a controversy on whether it met the comprehensive plan. Everyone agrees that it does, and both sides that it look like more of a traffic flow issue. And I rode out there a couple of times. I know there's a bunch of houses past this development. Anyway, I don't see how 6 additional houses is going to make that a catastrophe. The staff report says that the imposed amendment will not adversely affect road capacity, access, or traffic flow. And planning and zoning passed it. I think we should agree with it.
Well, and I've looked at it as well and looked through the transcript, and originally they had asked for 3 homes to be built there, and now they're asking for 9. And of course, the residents and planning and zoning agreed to the 3, and then they came back with a request for a change to go to the 9. I also understand that every time you make changes like this, it disturbs people in the community and it gets people riled up, and it is confusing and causes a lot of controversy there. I personally would think that I would be in agreement with the 3 tracks, the way the original plan was approved by planning and zoning.
Was those 3 tracks 3 duplexes, wasn't it? I
think there were 3 individual family houses.
There were 3 individual houses.
3 individual family houses.
Okay.
But the density of the proposed change is far below what the maximum is. I mean, it's not even close. I mean,
And looking at the division of property, it looks like the lot sizes are in line with what's out there now.
if you look at the transcripts, they had a public hearing, and then they were asked to go back by the planning commission to, I guess, get some answers on the drainage and
And some sinkholes.
sinkholes and fix the drainage problems. And when I went to the hearings, because I didn't participate, but I was listening, it's all in your transcript. And they fixed whatever they asked for in the drainage and the sinkholes and so forth. And so then they tabled the first meeting, and at the second meeting, they approved it. And I don't remember if it was unanimous or not, I can't remember, was it?
I think Mark Carpenter was an oath, but I believe
I think so too. But that, I can't remember what it said last time.
And you say the lots are the same size as what you've seen
some of the multifamily out there.
on just the multifamily, maybe, but I didn't say, it looks like mine's a lot smaller compared to what they've had, especially what's around that area in that same little thing. I drove out there yesterday just to kind of put a bird's eye view. I mean, of course, I've been openly, I'm not the most educated when it comes to planning and zoning, but I'm pretty open about being common sense. 3 might be too small, 9 seems excessive to me, you know what I mean, as far as, I know the first one was 3 lots on residential, and I think that probably had to take into consideration with some of the way the landscape was, the drainage and stuff, and maybe they've got all that fixed, and that's the reason why the guy's coming back for more. But it does look like it's just small, adding a lot, you know, if there was a way to meet that in the middle, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the R4 designation allows, I think, 6 per acre, and this is 2.5 or something. And don't quote me on that, but I know it's well within the limits of what the R4 designation
So
allows.
the density you're saying.
Well, it's 3.3 acres, and he's asking for 9 individual homes, so that's 3 per acre.
But it allows up to 6,
I understand.
so I think, don't quote me on that.
I think it's up to 6. The R4 is,
I mean, we're not changing zoning, or changing the conditions on it. I think it falls within what is allowed, and I don't see any reason that we should deny what a person wants to do with their property there. I'll make a motion that we accept the recommendation of planning and zoning on this, and approve the application just based on finding of facts and the testimony of the public hearing.
can you put that number in there in your motion?
It was for zoning change 2722.
Got a motion from Jeff,
I second the motion.
second by John. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
We've got MT and Adam voted no. Jeanette? You got the other 3 voted in favor. Motion carries. Public comment. Whoever signed up that wants to come up and talk, you can start with Jeanette Quigley.
Michael Quigley.
Jeanette,
We was asking for public comment now.
When I called earlier this week, my name is Michael Quigley.
Uh-huh.
I'm a member of the board of the association.
Yes, sir.
Over on 9 Garden Drive. I called earlier this week asking if it was possible for residents like myself to speak at this meeting, and I was told, no, that's not possible.
KRS 100, you gotta have public hearings at the Planning and Zoning Commission. The request that I received from, won't stay here. 99% of the time, it does not even come to fiscal court. I had an aggrieved person that asked me to hear it at our level, which I have. That's what I did this today. They did not ask for another public hearing, which I could have done, but they didn't ask for a public hearing at our level. And I know I attended to both public hearings personally at the other one. But if you had signed up here to talk before that, I wouldn't have allowed you to speak anyway, because you cannot add any new information to the agenda. That's by statute, KRS 100, so that's what I have to follow. If that's what everybody signed up this for. Prior to January of a year ago, there wasn't even any public comment at the fiscal court meetings. I added that too, and the fiscal court supported that. And we got to follow the ordinance that we passed very clearly, you know, crystal clear on that too, so we won't be not following the law. So when it comes to planning and zoning, there's a lot of other statutes you have to follow, not just what the fiscal court wants to do. It's based on that. So I just want to let you know that, sir. So I guess most of these on here, anybody else, I mean, you can, if you want to say, have any comments or anything, you can talk now. If anybody wants to say anything, or anybody on here? Yeah, I'm just letting you know what the statute says, so.
Yeah, that's not our rule, that's the state law.
Anybody else on here want to speak that I'm gonna miss? Mr. Kirsch?
Oh, yeah.
You're on here also?
Yes, sir.
Will you come up here, please?
I want to hand these out real quick. I have a copy. We can quickly go over what I want to talk about, run my big mouth about it. One from Mr. Craig. One from Mr. Lee. One from Mr. Nick.
Thank you.
You got any more, Shane?
I've got one more.
Pass it back to my engineer there, sir, please.
Oh, there he is. All right. We'll make this short and sweet. It's been a while since I've been a part of local government. Hopefully in the future I'll be able to be a part of it again in the not too distant future. First, I'd like to request that all the comments and questions be held until the end of my time, since there are a few points to be made. And also, I'd like to thank Mr. Hutchins and Nelson County Fiscal Court for retaining this portion of this fiscal court meeting for public comments. I'm here to file a fiscal claim against the Joint City County Planning Commission of Nelson County Administrator pertaining to the subdivision regulations amended on 8 November 2018 for the approval of a non-conforming agricultural division and plat approved by the Planning and Zoning Administrator and the Nelson County Engineer, which several mistakes and a few will be addressed today. The rest might have to be litigated according to, for clouding the title of my son, property belonging to my son and daughter-in-law as a result of the Planning and Zoning Administrator's failure to perform the respective duties as outlined in the subdivision regulations. I'd like to direct your attention to page 2, section 1.7, definition of a subdivision. Clearly states constitutes subdivision. Also talks about on the plat, there's a paragraph that specifically addresses why the two lots in the rear off the private road were divided. I don't think it meets those actual definitions. Page 28, defining the minimum distance between existing roads and proposed new roads to be built. In the county, when I started on the planning commission, of course it's been 20-some years ago, we always had new road developments to be separated by a minimum 650-foot center line to center line. Especially on arterial roads, that was for safety purposes. That way you didn't have a county road next to a county road next to a county road, just so you could divide large parcels of property in the rear. The private street, on page 30, it also clearly states that private street shall not be the principal access for more than 3 lots. When you look at the plat, the tracks 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 are all the primary reason or access for those lots. We have a maximum of 3 lots in the county as far as private roads are concerned. Also on page 31 states the minimum frontage for future developments. The paragraph on the plat that was recorded states that the paragraph that on page 2 of 1.7 is for future developments. You have to have 50 foot of frontage for those little flagship tracks. We quit doing the flagship tracks, that way we didn't have tracks that were 50 foot or 100 foot frontages on major arterial roads 25 plus years ago in the county for safety reasons. There was different companies that come in and would develop properties, and they would have 100-foot frontage, and it might go back and be 30 or 40 acres, another 100-foot frontage. That way you didn't have entrance after entrance after entrance after entrance on roads where people are traveling 55 mile an hour. And also to help meet the minimum sight distance of 500 foot for roads that have those speed limits.
Minimum, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Minimum sight distance. Tracks 5 and 6 just don't meet those requirements for a private road. The principal access for those two tracks are off the new road that's being developed, or that will be developed, because it has a performance bond placed against it. The same way we've done this in the county for a couple of decades. The three major issues are approved and recorded on the plat. I request the Nelson County Court to direct the Nelson County Attorney to investigate these findings, and after they are proven to be correct, either whole or in part, to issue a formal letter of reprimand to be placed in the permanent record of the planning administrator and enforcement of the law from Commonwealth of Kentucky and Nelson County. This is a official complaint made against the joint City County Planning and Zoning of Nelson County Administrator. Any written complaint will also be filed with the Nelson County Fiscal Court. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Shane.
Shane, I heard you want to say one thing there. 500 feet of sight distance?
Yes, on roads that have 55 mile an hour, usually it's 500 foot. I get unless the state has changed that.
I think it's 485 or 500.
That's good.
It's by state law, not by us.
It's according to the state. Usually, what we used to do, we'd have a study performed. Certain areas where you have curves and things like that, the sight distance can be minimized if you have a specific curve, say on one that goes to 35 mile an hour.
Right.
Once that study is performed and we can prove that the traffic going in one certain direction is coming around the curve and they're only traveling 35 miles an hour, then that sight distance can be lessened to, that way you have the same time distance or time to stop or to pull out or whatever.
It depends on the speed limit, on county roads, you've got 25, 35, there's different.
Obstacles in the way.
Yes, sir.
All right, Shane, I'll take this into consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Rhonda, Treasurer's Report.
I have a second reading on a budget amendment we did back in March. I'm a little delayed in getting that second reading, but there's been no changes between the first and second, so if I could just get a second reading. This is for the budget year that we are currently in.
I'll make the motion that we accept the budget amendment on second reading.
I'll second it.
Motion by John and second by Keith. Any more discussion? Motion to approve.
Aye.
Motion carries.
I also have a resolution for House Bill 1 for jail arraignment software. This is software that we have actually already purchased, but when we attempted to go for reimbursement on the grant, the state let us know that we hadn't yet filed this resolution. So I just need a resolution stating that that the fiscal court would like to go after this grant for the jail arraignment software of $44,018. And that will fully reimburse the software that we have already purchased.
I'll make the
Motion by T.
I'll second.
Motion by Jeff. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Brad Metcalf, you got any updates on any grants?
Yes, just two. Last month, we sent in one for the Sheriff's Department for the mental health counseling app that they have. And then we sent in one for the EMA grant. It was the tie-up for the previous year's funding. So those are the only two grants that we've got. We've got about 3 more that we're working on right now, little longer term ones. That's all I have on grants.
We
So
got the, we've been looking at I guess it's probably 6, 8 months now, with a cell tower, south end of the county, they have phone service, and they want to locate it on county-owned property. I think I'll be able to go get all that information, and Brad and I keeps aware of it way back, that we could try to get as much on the monthly lease that we could, and then they've agreed to allow us to put some repeaters and emergency, I guess you'd say, equipment on that tower at the same time. So Brad, you want to get into that?
Yes, so in the middle of last year, one of the cell phone companies reached out to us about possibly leasing, engaging in a long-term lease to put a cell tower at the edge of our property that we own in Culvertown, where the Culvertown ballpark is. It is not anywhere in the open areas. It's right at the edge of the woods, at kind of the top of a ridge. We have traditionally had very limited communication in that area, both with our emergency communications and just with cell phones. Just because of the layout of the land, the knobs in that area, there's one on either side, so it kind of is a dead space, has been for years. So this was seen as kind of an ability to fix both problems in one fell swoop. So this would drastically increase cell phone coverage through New Hope, up Monks Road, down Nat Rogers Road, all down in these areas that we've traditionally had trouble with. So in the negotiations back and forth with the operator, we also acquired the ability to put our repeaters, our emergency repeaters for law, EMS, fire, and the school, actually the school system too, if they needed it, so we could increase our communication. That was at no cost to us. It is for the first term of the lease, it would be for 5 years. Then it would, there are 9 extensions anticipated for a term of 50 years. This is standard cell phone or cell tower practice to do something for a long term. That's about a little longer probably than the current tower. A lot of towers we have up now were put up in the 70s, and they're still up. So they have a significant lifespan. So what we're asking for today, we're still trying to. Chip has been aware of this for several months now. We've been going back and forth with the companies and the terms. We're trying to fine tune a couple of little last things. So really what we're asking for today is just the court's approval for the judge to sign that paperwork when it comes time.
This is Verizon.
Verizon, yes, sir.
You know what the service has been on that end of the county is not real good, so.
Is this still 300-foot tower?
It's about 315. We haven't got the final technicals on that yet. They've done the ground analysis they put in for the FCC. You know, they have to put in for other licenses, lighting agreements, and all that stuff with the state and with the FCC. So they're going through all those approvals.
As a side note, is Verizon one of the companies we were having an issue with on the 911 collection? Remember from?
No, that was for 3.
Okay. I was gonna say we might have a little leverage for getting that reimbursement.
A little arm wrestling there.
I don't mind giving an approval. I know I've talked with you before regarding, I would search out to see if there's a buyout first before I give the approval to just do a lease at home. And I would highly suggest looking at the buyout. It's a lot more lucrative.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Two questions. One is, are we responsible for any site preparation for that?
No,
you got to get access to the spot.
We do.
So
it's 90% built. All we got to add is probably 100 feet.
Well, Verizon was the one that bought out Bluegrass.
Right.
We were at a real
okay.
I thought that part of that, we need to, this might be a good opportunity to.
Well, this contract is not with Verizon.
It's with the new cell phone
Don't own
tower
towers
owners.
anymore, so. That's what the-
Also on the second question on that, at the end of the lease, should they decide to end the lease, what's the responsibility for the tower itself, for what's on the property at the time this lease ends?
They would then return it to the conditions that it was before.
So they would take it down and
They would
take all that out?
it
Gotcha,
yes.
okay.
Probably want to leave it up.
It's still on an acre agreement.
It's roughly about an acre. It's 100 by 100, but if we did this, we would anticipate we would replat that and just section that off so that it would just have its own, its own ground.
We'd still own the ground. We're just
Just
leasing
have the
it.
deed.
Yes.
Keith knows and Judge knows, sure, we've had a very difficult time with first responder communication down in those areas, so anything we can do to help that, I think is a win for the county.
And we'll look into that if y'all ask that. We've not
Yeah,
considered that before.
I'm in similar negotiation in Hardin County. It's a lot better lucrative for the county if it's similar. That's why I want you to take a look at that, because if you can get the buyout invested would yield you way more than the lease would.
What's the buyout?
Well, they would
They
buy
just
the
buy it.
property.
Okay.
And, if the amount is, similar to what I just went through.
Just thinking off the top of my head, though, and Chip may chip in here, for us, that may be a problem, because we would have to declare that as surplus
surplus,
property, and then we'd have to bid it.
Bid it, yeah.
That's y'all's.
I'm just,
Just bring it back
as
to
we're
me.
going along, I
Yeah.
just think.
Well, you have to have, I guess, an appraiser tell us what the value is. And if it's close to that, you can sell it for that, but then otherwise you have to do bidding and things like that.
Okay, we'll take a look at it and see.
Maybe worth a while.
I'll make a motion that we allow the judge to sign documents, pursue this with Chip's advice on the buyout.
I'll second.
Motion by Jeff, second by Keith. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Brad, go ahead with your fire EMA report.
Okay, just real quickly, I just wanted to let everyone know, I think most people have seen, at least the news over the last day or two, we are expecting some severe weather, a little bit for today, but a greater chance for tomorrow moving into Thursday. National Weather Service doesn't usually get too excited 3 or 4 days out, but this is a storm that they're paying particular attention to. The exact lineup of where it's going to hit, we don't know yet. Just please pay attention to any kind of TV or online platforms to try to get your weather information. I'll repeat it again, and I can't say it enough. A weather siren is not your appropriate way to get weather information. That is for if you're outdoors. So please do not rely on a weather siren to let you know when weather is coming. It's an aid, but it is not, should not be your only method of getting weather information.
Speaking about that, did you talk to them about putting the siren?
Yes,
Cell phone tower?
we have, weather siren there. We already have one at Balltown. They'd be so close to one another. You should be able to hear the one in Balltown, I would think.
No, on knobs.
But we can.
Remember we talked about that, you said you had that surplus one maybe.
Well, I don't think we could put it on the cell tower simply because of the RF interference for the signal. But we can look at putting one somewhere in that area. We're still trying to locate where we're going to put all the new sirens. We can look at putting one somewhere.
I didn't think that interference.
It would interfere with it. We wouldn't be able to set it off. One thing that we did ask for and put into the budget this year was for the Skywarn system, which is a new way of activating the sirens. We've asked for 2 things. One, for money to make the sirens two-way, to give two-way communication. Right now, the only way we know that they don't go off is when somebody tells us they don't go off. This gives us actual verification that the siren is on. We can see it on our phones. But what it also does is it shortens down the area of which sirens go off. So say there is a tornado in Hydestown. When we set them off now, most of the time, we just hit the all call and they all go off. So people in Chaplin are wondering, well, why is my siren going off? Well, what it does now is the National Weather Service sets them off from their headquarters in Louisville. They set them off for us, and it's only inside the polygon. So wherever that little box is, it sets off the siren inside the polygon and any ones that can be heard around it. So it narrows that down, and it also just takes out any lack of communication from the time that National Weather Service puts it out to the time we turn it on. So it shortens that time down, and as you know, that could mean, lives. Keith, to answer your question, we have engaged with a crane operator to take the siren down at New Haven City Hall, and then we'll be putting up a new one after that. So,
Are you gonna put it at City Hall?
we're gonna put a new siren, one of the new ones at City Hall, yes. We're working on putting a new radio in for the dog warden. He's requested one. He gets out a lot of times and in areas that his cell phone doesn't work, gets into some places where he needs some law enforcement backup, or they're requesting him, and that way they can communicate with one another. We're gonna try to get that put in. That's all I have on EMA. I do have fire.
We got we still got some communication, radio and issues.
We do.
We'll bring that up at another time. Let's talk about the fire department news. We have with us today, Jeffrey Lee. He's the fire chief from the New Hope Fire Department, and I met with him a few weeks ago, I think, and Brad, and we've been kind of talking to all the different fire departments. And I guess the bottom line is like everything else. Inflation is taking a toll on everyone, and it's also taking a toll on all the public services. And this report, everything we do, everything is just extremely high. Trying to fix and repair and replace, and it's been very difficult. Mr. Lee, you want to come up and talk briefly?
Morning, Judge. Magistrates, thank you. Court officers, appreciate your time and allowing me to speak today and be on the agenda. As the judge mentioned, my name is Jeffrey Lee. I am the chief of the New Hope Volunteer Fire Department, and I've been serving citizens of Nelson County for 5 years since I moved to this state. New Hope is a 100% volunteer fire department. None of the members receive any financial reimbursement whatsoever. No stipends, no fuel reimbursement, nothing. Everybody gives 100% volunteer efforts to this. With that, we find ourselves in, like every other agency, Raymond and Sean, in financial constraints. We currently have frontline fire apparatus that are operating at half capacity because we can't afford to fix a pump on it. We have aging equipment. I'm not asking for new equipment. I'm asking for funds to help repair those. And I had a conversation with Keith Thursday for a little bit, and I hear your concerns. And what we're looking to do is currently, the last fire dues were changed approximately 2008, and they went up to $40. That equates to about 9 cents a day for fire protection. 9 cents a day. What my board has done, and what I've done with the board, is we have crafted a resolution to raise the fire dues to $60, which currently matches Nelson County Fire Rescue dues. It is higher than Rolling Fork dues, but even at $60 a day, or $60 a year, excuse me, that is only 16 cents a day for fire protection. All right, and according to KRS, if somebody pays their fire dues, we can't bill them for services. The city of Bardstown uses fire recovery for auto accidents. We also employ their services to try to recover finances from hazmat and car accidents. When you have a structure fire, and we had 9 last year, there's an exorbitant cost to get those trucks out the door, to get everything running and in service. In 2008, that was the last time we raised the dues to $40. We have been level funded since then. We collect approximately $55,000 in fire dues, and the rest we make up in state aid and fundraising. The members are very active in fundraising. We actually currently have 2 fundraising activities going on simultaneously with a car show at the New Hope Ballpark on the 25th. Cost of living adjustment. Every year, typically, people get a cost of living adjustment. Information that provided to you shows that over the last 15 years, the average cost of living has gone up 2.67% across the board. The same amount of time, it has gone up 276.97% to run and maintain a fire department. We have created some really amazing relationships throughout the country, and 2 years ago, I was able to get a fire truck donated to us from New York. Just last month, I was able to get donated air packs to us from another fire department in New York. So we're not asking for a huge exorbitant amount. We believe that it is time to raise the fire dues. We've exhausted traditional resources, and we are now asking for the fiscal court's help in doing that. The board has passed the resolution, which I believe you do have a copy of, so the last step would be the final approval of this fiscal court.
Chief, how many's on the board?
I have 8 members on the board, including myself, and I'm a non-voting member of the board.
So 8 votes?
7 votes, sir.
7 votes, okay.
How many's in your department, sir?
I have 25 volunteers, and I have 1 junior firefighter.
It's pretty amazing when you look at these numbers, 227% increase.
And Keith, the conversation you and I had Thursday about runs that Art is busy. I'd like to think that goes to fire education, fire prevention. But additionally, in the last couple of years, we worked with Nelson County EMS, and now we're responding to every medical call in the county, in the southern end of the county as well. So that's something that we hadn't been doing for a few years. So that obviously is going to help the citizens, but it's going to create a cost for that as well for us.
I talked to another board member yesterday, and I just suggested to him, if somebody, you're not in my district, but say my fire guy wanted to go up on mine, I would appreciate some kind of call or a little postcard or something, say, hey, we're thinking about going up on the fire dues. At least a little bit of ask, instead of just saying, we're going up on the fire dues. I don't know, I was trying to feed off him as much as he was trying to feed off me, but I do like the ask. I don't know if that's feasible to send out a little thing. Like I told you the other day, I said, how many of my constituents do you think know that the fire dues are going up? And you said, I don't know.
A fair number of people in town do know, but there are a fair number of people in town that don't know.
What you tell me, 1,280?
I have 1,295 deeded properties.
So close to 1,300, yeah.
Deeded properties, yes.
Yeah.
And obviously some people have multiple deeds.
Yeah.
When you look at the fire truck in 2008, for example, 125,000, now 680. And you know how it is, it's on the landfill and so on. So, well, my suggestion would be for the court to take this and absorb it and digest it and discuss it, and then we'll come back at the next meeting and try to make a decision. That's what I, basically for information purposes today. I don't like to spring anything on anybody without any discussion, and so this would be a good opportunity for the media to get it out, and hopefully your citizens and
my constituents, yeah.
People, yeah, our constituents, yours and mine.
What do you collect annually on fundraising?
It varies depending. Last year was $1,600. We've doubled the fundraising efforts this year. We're doing actually more activities this year than we have in the past.
$1,600? That's all you raise on fundraising?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right, Jeff, you said 55,000 from the state? Is that what, from the fire dues?
From fire dues, yes, sir.
And then the state gives you what, close to 12 grand?
If we meet all the state's fire commission criteria, we're eligible for $11,500.
How much?
$11,500.
Okay, 11,000. And then
Nelson County Fiscal Court gives you $5,000 a year?
Yes, sir, typically.
So that's all added to this 55,000?
Yes.
All right, what else maybe might be added to that?
We do get some residual from LaRue County dues because we are obviously the primary authority having jurisdiction for that part of LaRue County as well. That's roughly around $1,000, $1,700.
So you're saying your annual would be close to 70,000, 60?
Do you get anything from Marion County being on that end?
No, sir, we do not.
Just for the court's, just for the court's information, New Hope is a little unique in the fact that it has there are no businesses located, there are no commercial properties, there's no other resources for them to recover any dues other than from homeowners. It is the most rural district that we have, and it is very long. And it's kind of skinny, but it's long and goes from Balltown Road all the way to Lennings. And that's a long area to cover.
How do y'all do those lines? Do you get with the other fire departments and y'all draw those lines up like
Yeah, great
districts?
question. New Hope Fire was incorporated in 1977, and the boundaries were set at that point and sent to the Fire Commission. And over the years, the fire chiefs have made some adjustments, and that's what triggers the PVA, and that's what triggers response maps, which then feed into Director Gaither's system to help.
You said you had 9 structural fires last year?
Yes, sir.
All right, when you have a structural fire, does the insurance pay y'all something?
No.
Nothing.
No, by KRS, we can't charge. If they pay their fire dues, and they pay their fire dues for the year, I can't charge them for a structure fire.
If they don't pay the fire dues?
If they don't pay the fire dues, then I could, and we have.
Fire dues are now on the tax bill when the fiscal court about 17, 18 years ago, maybe 20, they allowed us to put them on the tax bills. The fiscal court had to make there was a resolution policy to allow that, because they used to go knock on doors and beg for them, basically. And that was, I don't see how they survived at all.
Well, you was on fiscal court when they got this
Yes.
last time.
So we passed the resolution to allow fire dues to be on the tax bills. That's been, say, 20 years ago or so. And then since then, like you said, it was 08.
Yes, sir.
When,
We went to $40.
and then, of course, countywide is 60, New Havens is what?
30.
30. And you got a Golden Fork, New Haven together. And,
No, it's just rolling fork now. New Haven backed out.
yeah, they combined it to one service.
Right, it's all rolling fork now.
But one thing we've asked the fire department to do, and they've all agreed to do it, is lift assist with, on our ambulance. And all the fire departments has agreed to do that, to take some pressure off our ambulance service. I think they've all tried to do the best they could in that. When you got full-time volunteers, I know it's even more difficult, so. Anybody got any more questions for, this gentleman here? And then-
I have one. On the, you mentioned in your memo to the judge that, that people who own duplicate or multiple properties still only pay $40.
That's correct, sir.
Does that include properties that have a structure on them, or is that?
Yes, it does.
So if I have 5 houses in New Hope, I only pay $40 in certain dues?
Oh, no, it's $40 per deed.
But if they put all those together under one, but no, because somewhere along the line, there was an agreement where even if you have multiple parcels, multiple deeds, it's still only $40. So we're losing out approximately $5,000 from just that.
Was that an agreement, was that something that was done by fiscal court, or something?
I don't believe it was done by fiscal court. I
Done
believe it
between
was-
the fire department and the property owners?
I believe it was, I don't know, before it went onto the tax roll. I believe.
My memory's kind of vague on that, but I think that there was a proposal to you charge whatever the dues were to every parcel, and the fiscal court did not want that unless it had a structure on it.
Yeah, because even vacant parcels in the county, we don't pay.
They wanted.
Right, that's why I asked specifically if they have houses on them, do you charge it?
Even though the fire department does show up for field fires and other things, but, yeah, if you've got a vacant tract of land.
What he's saying is even if it's got a house on it.
Yeah, I know, so they're different than
Yes.
the county.
That's correct.
Than Nelson County.
They have to do some research on that. find out where that was at, 'cause I'd say I don't remember that far back, but
How many years ago did you say that was done?
I don't know, Keith, it was long before I came in.
But out of the 1,295 deed holders, how many of them own property with more than one structure? Couldn't be very many.
There are quite a few.
You
Really?
said it would equate to $5,000.
Hmm.
So at $40 a pop, that's a pretty good.
I don't see how you would print a tax bill that didn't include it. That would take a lot of logistics. But, if you got independent tax bills for all your parcels, then it should be included.
For clarification's sake, because this is only my second year on fiscal court, we don't have anything to do with their budget, with the fire department's budget, correct?
Very transparent, and Brad has come down to some of our board meetings, but actually as far as the budget aspect.
Gotcha.
But we do have a effect on their dues.
On the dues.
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, in effect, we would have a little bit of.
I'm just saying, we don't see their budget when you create your budget and put all that outside of it.
It's not a pass-through.
Gotcha.
And we can ask for,
Couldn't remember seeing it.
What if we asked for a copy of the budget, just to kind of
Absolutely.
ease our
Should be
minds a
public
little
record.
bit and see
Absolutely.
how you are spending your money, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Just to help educate some.
Absolutely.
I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, we'll get that. I think everybody would be in favor of that anyway. So, all right, we'll have a discussion on it and probably put it on the next agenda, sir.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time and service.
Thank you.
Yeah, and thank all your volunteers too.
Justin had a transport some inmates today. Anybody want to do his report? The others want to ignore it. He had, I'll just go through it real quick. Everybody's
He's
got
at
it.
in-service training. Getting trained.
Well, yeah, he had 146 inmates, up to 5, with 8 of 5, 3 of them. Look at his report. His budget, according to this year, Ron was in line, in check, pretty good. We thought it was gonna be out of line a little bit, but he has brought some more income in to help offset that, so if you make any questions on that, you could talk to Mr. Justin later on. We also I thought I did this last time, but he basically, Justin, they have to get a certificate, a CO on an annual basis for this, after his jail inspection. And I have that here, and we've got the report. Did I send it over to y'all? I don't know if you got it, I thought I sent it last time.
I think we got the inspection stuff.
It's in y'all inspection stuff, but
Certificate of occupancy or whatever it is.
But here's the CO that goes with that, if you can get it, just basically for your records, if everybody wants to see it. They got a high score down there, one of the best inspections they've had ever, according to what I was told by some people. So that's good for Justin and his staff.
Is that something that we need to take action on?
No.
Okay.
And then I have a resolution here for correctional officers they asked me to do, and Justin's not here, but I'll go ahead and do that also. Let's see what else I got. He also sent his statement on his checking account for the canteen account. Anybody want to see that? I guess y'all got that, didn't you? If anybody wants to review that, he's being transparent as he can be, let everybody know what's going on at the jail. I want to read this resolution. Whereas correctional officers are trained law enforcement professionals dedicated to maintaining safe correctional facilities and ensuring public safety. And whereas correctional facilities across the U.S., both civilian and military, public and private, adult and juvenile, are run by highly qualified and experienced individuals with a deep understanding of the challenges within the profession. And whereas correctional officers and employees are responsible for the custody, care, and rehabilitation of thousands of offenders every year, as well as the maintenance of safe and secure facilities. Whereas correctional officers and employees serve admirably and in many different capacities, including jail administrators, wardens, chaplains, nurses, supervisors, social workers, teachers, managers, and directors. And whereas correctional officers and employees each train, mentor, counsel, and treat thousands of offenders while providing offenders with direction, hope, and a new focus to assist with reentry in life outside corrections. And whereas correctional officers and employees rise to meet any challenges and serve this honorable profession nobly and admirably, and now therefore be it resolved by the Nelson County Fiscal Court, correctional officers and employees of the Nelson County Correctional Center deserve recognition for their service and should be commended by the leaders in this profession, the public and elected officials for the tremendous job they do and for their exceptional performance under the most difficult of circumstances. They are recognized during American Correctional Officers Week, May the 5th through the 11th, 2024, and thanked for their dedication and their service to this county. Do I need a motion on that?
Yeah, for resolutions, it has to be approved by this.
Make a motion to approve the resolution as read.
Got a motion from Adam, second by John. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Anybody else here representing the jail? Nobody?
Did he issue a proclamation for being jailer or corrections week? Was that this week?
That's what it is.
Is that what that part was?
That's part of it.
Part of it, okay.
Correctional officers, yes, that's what this is. I don't know if that'll go to her or. Sean, you're up next for dispatchers.
We don't have much. We're looking at the weather the next couple of days. Dispatch center is fully staffed the next couple of days to make sure that we got adequate number of staff in the seats. We, dealing with some issues over the weekend with radios for the sheriff's department, sheriff's office rather. I think we're trying to do everything we can on the dispatch side of it, but there's obviously some issues that, got to be looked at. There's only so much we can do from our end. We did have some issues with our CAD vendor again, with Central Square, dealing with some paging groups. They did an update a couple weeks ago, actually 2 weeks ago yesterday. It messed up some field ops for the sheriff's department, or sheriff's office, where they couldn't see their flock cameras and things like that. That took about 5 days to fix. Then all of a sudden, road report wasn't getting their paging groups. It took them about 8 days to get that fixed. We dealt with it more over the weekend, and then had Shanna call Sunday. They tried to say it was on our end, but it wasn't. They actually got it fixed within a couple hours. But it's all due to an update they did to the system about 2.5 weeks ago. Other than that, everything else is running pretty smooth right now.
Any questions for Sean? Sean, I've got this EMS week. What we just did 2 or 3 weeks ago, you had a...
No, that's for my grant.
Oh, that's for Michael. We did yours.
Mine was a couple weeks ago.
Right, okay. I got you.
Just one thing to add to Sean's report. This is the umpteenth time that we've been here complaining about our current CAD vendor. Rolling Fork is a very rural department, and a lot of them don't have pagers. Our paging systems won't go off for their traditional pagers. So the only way they can even know that there's something to respond to is by these apps that are on their phone. And we've told Central Square this over and over again. We have an entire area of the county that we don't even know if we have proper fire coverage because 3/4 of our firefighters don't even know that they're being requested. And they just don't care. They act like it's no big deal. We'll get back to you. It's your fault. Something on your end. And then every time they do it, it's something related to an update they've done. And I just want to make that opinion known again that we are
It's happened several times, and we've got, I was gonna bring it up earlier, we'll go ahead and get into it. Raymond can testify to that on his handhelds. What you just
Well,
discussed.
we have a lot of needs.
We've got a lot of problems, that's, Sean, I mean, I've met with them and talked about it now. To fix it all, takes a lot of dang on money, but, there's just a lot of, we're gonna have to sit down and have a joint, we're gonna have a meeting here real soon about trying to come up with a plan and getting everybody together, and it's just not working really, really well. And if you don't have a good, like I say, the dispatch is where it starts at. If you can't get people out, I mean, that's basically where it all starts. If the dispatch can't receive, if they can't hear the signals, what's the sense in having the departments?
Our job is, again, when it comes down to it, our job is the safety of our responders. We serve the community, we get that, but our responders' safety should absolutely come first. They're put in situations every day that put their lives on the line. And to not be able to communicate with them on the radio when they're down here next to Croon's grocery store or at the Trinity Cemetery, that is beyond unacceptable. Again, it puts us in a panic state. We don't know what's going on, and when we can't get a hold of our units, it should heighten everybody's awareness. And like I said, I think we're all trying to work towards the same thing, but it definitely has to be on the same system. It can't be one has this, one has that. It's got to come together, because if it doesn't, we're going to get somebody hurt, and it's not going to be any fault of just one department. It's going to be everybody that's going to be involved.
Yeah, Raymond, you had some issues this past week, or 2 weeks, I think.
This weekend.
This weekend, trying to get signals out, and they couldn't talk to each other.
They pretty much hit up on it. One was a deputy over by Croon's drugstore. Brian sent you the body cam and the audio from dispatch and radio communications. It's like beating a dead horse, but I don't know what the fix is. I know it's gonna cost money.
Yeah.
But
I'm down by Croon's drugstore.
What's the issue with that area? Is there some kind of?
Shouldn't have been an issue.
I'll tell you, there's an issue right outside the sheriff's office and dispatch that's in the same building. So, right now Brandon left to go talk to an radio group that's coming down, because I'm alarmed. I've never met anybody in my career that wants to go to a funeral for one of their people, right? And I'm in that category. But it's alarming when I got a guy on Springfield Road fighting a guy that citizens driving by are calling dispatch because my guy cannot get out on the radio. And you guys got the email with the body cam and the footage. It's alarming, and something needs to be done to get it fixed. We out here busting our ass, getting things done, but can't get out on the radio. Brandon said it best probably a meeting or two ago. An iPhone 1 or 4 does not compare to an iPhone. I don't even know what they're on now.
15, I think.
But it's not going to compare to what that new iPhone does. And same thing, we cannot find out what year these radios were made. The next level, they were made in 2008. So, and it's been over 30 years that radios have not been bought. This is a dinosaur. So.
What kind of money are you talking about?
I don't know, we're talking to this group.
We're looking into it, it's a lot of money.
We're trying to get quotes, we're not, and I know, I don't want nothing that's gonna
I feel the urgency, is what I'm saying. I don't think we need to wait till tomorrow.
And I do too. It's sad that EMS guys, my guys are buying their own radios because they think they're a little bit feeling better by what they're buying, which is a modern version of the Kenwood. So.
Yeah, but you gotta go back to the geography of our ground. I mean, we've got terrible ground with the knobs and everything.
I agree.
Yeah.
But we also-
My district has been lessened with the radio ever since I've been on court.
But we
It's the
put
worst.
3 towers since I've been the sheriff. We added 3 towers since I've been the sheriff. It was probably year 1, year 2, you were on that court. It's gotten better, but now it's gotten worse. So I don't know what the fix is.
Was it this CAD system we're talking about?
No, it's 2 different things, but, what I mean, what Brandon was saying is that at the top of Bird Hill should not be a problem. You're probably 2 miles from Salt River Tower as the crow flies, and you can probably dang near see it. It's not like you're at the, halfway down 80 Miles Road somewhere. I get it, there's places we're never gonna have radio coverage. But Cream's Drugstore, right, the parking lot at the Justice Center, none of those things, we should not have, dark spots in the county.
That goes back to what you said over that system earlier, Russ. I mean, I don't want to keep beating a dead horse. I'm aware of it, and I was aware of it when I was a magistrate many years ago, and it's never stopped talking about it. Here I come back to life and still hearing it.
I thought that the 3 towers was gonna be a big help. John, you were on the sheriff's office back then. It improved. What has happened in the last 2 years, 3 years, it's gone downhill, but it's alarming for the guys for me to ask them to go out here and do their job.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know if y'all watched the body cams and the video, but I'm getting goosebumps from listening to a guy fight, and it's in the dark. It's not broad daylight, it's in the dark. Don't know what he's got. And this is 100 yards past his cruiser where the lights are no longer shining on him. You can see him, but it's not a visual thing that he can see what the guy's doing. And the guy fought him for a good 5 minutes. That 2 citizens driving, called in, hey, one of your deputies is out here fighting this guy. And he couldn't get out. He asked for backup. He asked for another unit to step it up. Didn't get out.
Raymond, also, can you share briefly to the court and the audience here about when you get a call or the city police get a call? Y'all still don't have no communication there?
No, the way, the city can scan us, but we cannot scan because we're on a repeater. We bounce to a nearest tower. Being in a multi-site, we cannot scan and get the same scenario that they get. But they can hear us if they choose to.
Wasn't that in their house? Didn't they do that in their house?
What do you mean?
I mean, they've got their own system and they don't want you to hear everything. Is that correct or no?
They got their own channel. It's 2 channels, law enforcement BPD and law enforcement SO. We go to the roaming system because we got multi-towers. We got 6 towers, I believe. And it bounces to the nearest tower, which that was the concept of getting better communication. If I'm near you, it's gonna hit your tower. If I'm near John, it's gonna hit Bloomfield Tower or Chaplin. So that was the concept to get better communication. It's not working.
Have they turned the repeaters down on the tires or something like they do the
I'm
cell
not
phones?
educated enough
I mean, they turn your cell phone
for
down so you
radio.
go
No,
buy new ones.
we would have to adjust the repeaters for that, and we don't do that. Those stay on a certain, because once we get them working, we kind of leave them there, and once you start adjusting them, then the frequencies get off, and the signals get, I mean, it can get worse, and then you get the feedback, and all those things that come along with it. So we don't touch them once we get them set. But again, the problem is it's not just geographical. I know it, in some areas it will always be, but some of it, we're at plain line of sight and still can't contact our units. That is a huge problem.
That's an equipment.
That's an equipment issue.
Here's my personal take on it. We've been trying to save the county money, and rotate radios I've been here 18 years. That's how we've done it. We continue to do it. We pull radios out of a car and put them in the next new one. Pull radios out of a car into the next new one. And it's been done like that for years. we have to buy sometime newer equipment to be able to do our job. And the radios is becoming, it's been an issue. I don't know what else to say.
Well, I just want to bring it forward, courts, we've been looking at it and talking about it, but I want to bring all the departments together. And since dispatch is under the Nelson County umbrella now, it gives us, I think, more opportunity to make sure we do it correctly, so.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
The other thing on the agenda was the limestone and, I don't even know where I'm at. Limestone, sand, and gravel settlement.
I ain't got to that yet, you got to wait on that.
Yeah, wait.
Michael?
Can I jump in and do my report out of you ready to go through the way?
Yes, sir. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
We do our annual survey we have to do every year. So with the combined new and old landfill that we have 7.5 million cubic yards of space. We have 2.4 million cubic yards filled with the remaining 5.1 cubic yards. So this past year, we averaged 1,200 pounds a cubic yard. So with that volume, we have 43 years remaining with our current capacity, what we have yearly. Go ahead.
When he means that, when we expand everything that just got approved.
Yes, that's permitted.
Not what we just built.
Not what we have built.
So we have plans through the state, we can get up to that space. So we're in good shape. That's all we can do.
43 years.
Yes.
Well, permitted 43 years of space.
How much space have we got built?
So right now, so we have, that's for the whole neck, what I've been working on the past several years, what's permitted. What we have built, we just did a 6.3 acre sale and we average around 6 acres. 1 acre per year. So we'll have about 6 acres, but then you got to back up a few years and start building the next. The next phase will be like 3.7 acres.
So 4 or 5 years.
4 or 5 years.
You're doing the same thing.
Doing the same thing.
That's right.
Then 3 years after that, then the next sale after that's about a 10 acre sale.
But
So
you
that'll
got
last
all the
longer.
permits and stuff to do all this?
Yes.
You're further advanced on that end?
Yes.
But we just got to build to it?
Yes. So we have 43 acres permitted total. Right now we have another 6.3 acres built, and we have like full design for our next phase. We're already got the plans that ready on the shelf, so when we want to pick them up and bid them out, they'll be ready.
Then after that 43 years, you still got land that you can still get permitted. You've got enough land out there to actually probably last 75 years.
Correct.
80 years total.
Correct.
It's just not permitted yet.
Correct. So before, it's going to be several years, but before we run out of these 43, we'll start probably 10 years in advance of that, of getting all the permitting. Probably next phase, probably right outside our landfill office, that flat area, whereas back in the 70s where they just dug a trench and put garbage there. So we'll excavate all that garbage out, put that in a contained landfill, line that, but that'll be years down the road, 30, 40 years down the road. Grants, we filled out a waste tire grant for $4,000. That's what we do every year with that. And for the landfill expansion, we got the liner crew coming May 20th to finish out like the Leachate Lagoon. And now we're getting some good weather to get stuff wrapped up with that. That's all I had to report.
That tire grant, $4,000, it's been $4,000 for some time. Have they have not put any extra money into that?
No.
Put it in place, it's been like that for many years.
It's been like that for many years. One thing that we really switched up last year that Brad has helped me with, so they do a tire amnesty every 3 years, and we get our tires picked up for free that we get through bulky item service. So we don't have to pay $20,000 to get rid of our tires for the year. We get rid of them through our tire amnesty program. So what we did last year, we took all our tires that we pick up from bulky item pickup and hauled it to Bullitt County for free, besides fuel cost and labor. So that was a very big benefit. Next year, we're looking at probably the next county is Anderson County, and get that set up to, besides fuel and labor, it saves a lot of
Seen the
money.
bills list, what was it, $8 grand?
With tires.
For tires.
So what we build, what we bring into the landfill throughout the year, we charge. If you come in and bring a tire, we charge you $4 a tire. If you bring a semi, we charge you 10. So we keep those separate, and then when we fill up that roll-off box, we got to haul that off and get. So we'll spend several thousand, which 4,000 of this grant covers part of that. But the majority, like we were spending before, 20,000 or so, we're hauling to the tire amnesty, which is a very big cost savings.
All right, thank you, John. Let's go to EMS. Mike.
The only thing I have officially is MT asked a question last meeting about the reason the expenses are up. I gave you all a copy of the comparison from March 31st to 23 to March 31st of this year. And like we said in that meeting, I just didn't have the actual numbers. The salary increase, EMS vehicles, we spent considerably amount more this year. And then the Stryker ALS 360 grant started this year. We signed a 10-year agreement on, so.
Let's start January 1.
It started.
Well, it did.
Yeah, but we paid it in January, I believe.
They didn't get the equipment here until January, so it started by.
Yeah, so.
But to answer NT's question, just real quickly, you asked about why the recovery rate was lower this year than it was the previous year, and that was because we had such a substantial increase in equipment and ambulances and the salary increase that all hit at one time, so it put our expenses way, way higher just for this 1 year, and it drove the delta a little higher, a little larger.
And if you really look at the budgets coming year, last year the raises basically in all these different departments was a big impact. Because the way the EMS is structured, in the 24 hours, every 2 weeks you still automatically get 8 hours of overtime. Is that correct?
Yes.
And that's just the way it is statewide. And if you don't do that, I've thought about it and talked about it, and they said basically everybody probably quit the next day. So, I've asked all the departments to, I dug into the overtime and everything, and I've said we've got to eliminate all this overtime. You got from the sheriff to dispatch to EMS, road department, and whatever. There's some landfill. But the EMS, automatically, they're going to accumulate, it's going to be about, what, $500,000 worth of overtime a year, close to it.
I would say so.
500,000 to 600,000 that you cannot get around based on that schedule. If you don't, you're not going to have any employees, so that's built into the budget. Now, the excess overtime above that, that's something we have to try to watch.
Is that a law?
No, that's just a policy that all departments, if you go to 8-hour shifts, Michael, you can explain that probably a lot more than I can, but just about everyone I know of is on a 24-hour shift.
There are a few that work 12-hour shifts, but when you're doing the 24-hour shifts, actually, if you do a true 24/48, every 3 weeks, you would actually have 32 hours of overtime that week. So, but we don't do that. We only work the 48 hours a week. And most every place, EMS fire, actually, I believe Bardstown Fire has changed to 48/96, where they work 2 days straight and then off for 96 hours, which is what, 3-4 days. So it just, the rotation and how that affects the budget. And so they get 8 hours of overtime every week if they're full-time. And it just, if you switch it to a 12-hour, then you've got almost, not completely, but you would have to have close to double the staff. Just because of how the rotation would work, and then you're not going to eliminate overtime just because.
7 days a week, 24 hours a day. I mean, that's just part of the.
You're still going, even if you did it to 12 hours and wanted to do 36 hours a week, you'd still have overtime because of the late runs, transfers, paperwork, whatever that they would be required to do. So eliminating completely from an emergency service is very difficult. But we are going to start, we are monitoring it and working on it.
We've been talking about trying every way we do using the part-timers to eliminate what overtime we can do. So we're watching that closely. So, Michael, you want to talk about this EMS week? You have that?
Yes, sir. The EMS week this week or year is May 19th through the 25th. And I have asked Tim to sign a proclamation for that week, for EMS week.
You got anything else on your report first?
No, sir. I'll have a complete report.
Michael. All right, I'll read another one. 50th anniversary EMS week, May 19th through 25th, 2024, honoring our past, forging our future. the EMS Week proclamation to designate the week of May 19th through 25th, 2024 as the Emergency Medical Services Week. Whereas emergency medical services is a vital public service, and whereas the members of the emergency medical services teams are ready to provide life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And whereas access to quality emergency care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness or injury. Excuse me. And whereas emergency medical services has grown to fill a gap by providing important out-of-the-hospital care, including preventative medicine, follow-up care, and access to telemedicine. And whereas the emergency medical services system consists of first responders, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, emergency medical dispatchers, firefighters, police officers, educators, administrators, pre-hospital nurses, emergency nurses, emergency physicians, trained members of the public, and other out-of-hospital medical care providers. And whereas the members of emergency medical services teams, whether career or volunteer, engage in thousands of hours of specialized training and continued education to enhance their life-saving skills. And whereas it is appropriate to recognize the value and accomplishments of emergency medical service providers by designating the Emergency Medical Services Week. Now therefore, I, Tim Hutchins, Nelson County Judge Executive in Bardstown, Kentucky, in recognition of this event, do hereby proclaim the week of May 19th through 25th, 2024 as Emergency Medical Services Week. The 50th anniversary of EMS Week theme is EMS Week, honoring our past, forging our future. And I encourage the community to observe this week with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities. Any motion?
You don't have to have a
I
proclamation.
don't have to have on the proclamation?
Yes.
Do not?
Resolution is by the court, proclamation is by you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, sir.
Brad Spalding, Recreation Report.
Okay, Tyler said really no report. Judge, we continue to work on the new layout of the baseball fields with turf poles and lighting feature. So maybe we can get some calls together on that in the next month or so and let you guys look over that.
I was out the park this weekend and the park absolutely looked beautiful.
Good.
Yeah, I think they've done a good job keeping it clean and busy. It's a busy place, man, I tell you.
That light I was talking to you, Brad, about out there at the gate, Bethlehem had a late baseball game. And when they come up to, the bus driver said when he come up to that gate, of course it opened, but it was awful dark. And that's when he said, because they played late or something, I don't know, they went over it. And he just thought that that would be a good spot for a light.
There a pole there? It's not one close, is it?
We got electric, so I see if we can pull them up, but strong light. These new LED lights might be the wrong one.
Yeah. Road Department, Brad.
Okay, Tim, you want to do the agreement first, you want me to do my report?
Agreement's fine.
So each year, you get your county road agreement from KYDOT. This is basically how we fund the road department. And it spells out the dollar amount we're supposed to get, which is $1,602,726.90. I would highly recommend approving this.
I make a motion to approve the county road A's Walker program grade.
No, second. I'll go to.
Motion by Jeff, second by Keith. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Very good. Okay, for my report.
Do you have anybody wants to see it? Go ahead, Brad.
For general report, the mowing crew, we're currently in District 1, we continue to make our rounds. Please understand, for the general public, when we come through the first time, we're making one swipe. That means you're getting 10 feet each side of the road. The second time we come through, we'll start widening everything back out. At intersections, we'll widen it out on the first swipe. But if I had to widen it out for everybody, by the time I got to the last guy, we'd be getting tons of phone calls. So for the first time, it's a quick once through, then we'll come back around. We do it every year. We get phone calls every year. Culverts, we replaced culvert at 110 Meadow Lane, cleaned some on Keith Knob and Shady Lane in Petersburg. Today, Jeff knows this, we started on High Grove Lane. There's a big box culvert back there. There's not but a few folks that live back there, but it needs to be replaced. We're doing that in-house with our road department. So that road is shut down. There is an alternate way in and out that we've provided to everyone. So we've done some ditching on Harrison Fork to improve some drainage, and Edwards Lane. Continue with trees all the time. Timber trails, Sullivan Lane. You know, Jeff, we just continue to work our way through that road as we get time. We've started on Thompson Hill Road, and again, we got pulled off for something. We'll go back to it eventually. And then we had a crew probably for the last 2 weeks, Tim, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks, felt like 2 weeks, removing landscaping and putting all the topsoil back here at the courthouse. Hopefully we'll see that landscaping pending weather. Today or tomorrow is supposed to start, but that is very weather dependent.
They've done a good job here. We've had to fix some sprinklers and water and sprinkler heads, and definitely put in a lot of light. There's another company's doing the lighting. That's why we try to incorporate it all together. This one really had a lot of confidence about it, getting rid of all these overgrown bushes. We're gonna trim these trees up. When we get done, I think it's gonna look really nice. And they've done an excellent job. We used the inmates around here also to save us a lot of money. So.
One last thing, Tim, Judge, Jeff, in your district, King Road, this KYDOT, that is actually a county bridge they put on their list that they're going to replace for us. That's a good thing because it's about 80 foot long. That it would be terribly expensive for the county to do. It's 6 ton. That is our lowest rated bridge. So that's the reason they called several years ago. I asked if they could ever work that into their system, and they have. They're supposed to let that in May, pending on how the bids come in, you know, whether they award it or not. So
You said May, you didn't say what year.
Yes.
I'll talk to them and Brad, we've got to communicate with them on that. It's, yeah, that's a long bridge. And,
yes.
They're attempting to get it built this summer. I don't, you know, sometime summer, late or fall. So that bridge money that we've got, plus that extra money we got on the blacktop from the state, would really help out a lot. So what else you got, Brad, on your side?
Okay, Keith, we continue work on Robert Taylor Lane. That petition is circulating out there. The lady who lives at the end is help fostering, trying to get those required signatures. We'll see how that goes. I know I keep bringing it up. It's just a process, man. Louisville Water Line, Judge and Jeff, that's the one, what we call it the Core Lane project, but there's a couple other areas it's going to serve. Still waiting for Division of Water to come back on that approval. We cannot bid that until we get approval from Division of Water.
It seems like it's been a little slow.
It has. Division of Water's really slowed down. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's personnel, but it's been painful. Slow. You are correct. And I think that's it for me.
Street lights still going up?
Still going up. A little bit at a time.
Blacktop list, as far as you presented the masters individually, what you...
So I've given the masters some of my thoughts on roads they need to look at. I've reached out to Mega. We have not bid our asphalt price yet.
Right.
Usually I do that late May, early June. And from that, I would highly recommend you guys, you know, we can continue to talk about your roads, but before I would commit, remember it happened to us last year. The price came in a little more than anticipated. And then you got to make some hard decisions on, are we going to continue with the list, come up more money, cut the list back? So just keep looking at your list. That's all I can tell you, and add to it, please.
You need to identify the ones you want to do for sure, and put them in priorities, and then whatever the money comes in. So you kind of put that in the budget.
I've already done that, and that's what I did last year as well.
Okay.
Okay, let's try to get that done here soon, and then the, I think it's it. So we got a meeting next week. Trail, I send you that.
Yes, I've got it on my schedule.
We've got some more, a lot of discussion on some road money. Sheriff's report, Raymond, you got your settlement you want to talk about?
They're running behind, and usually the bills gets in now by the state on limestone, sand, and gravel. And they've settled the statement, and that's the report.
Is this,
2022.
Ron, do you want to talk about that some? 20, am I reading this right? $2,284 or $46?
Yeah, it's very little amount that comes to the county every year, and that portion of property taxes. But I do know that there was a delay a couple of years ago. We didn't get any settlement last year. I think they made up for it, and they're current now with the collections. So I believe that just needs to be added as a matter of record.
We need a motion to add this as a matter of record.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know that.
It's a sheriff's settlement, yeah, that portion of the settlement, which was not included
I make a motion that
originally.
we get a motion from Jeff, to set the MD to add this as a matter of record sheriff's settlement statement. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. There's no signature for me. Believe that? Jeanette, do you have anything today?
Just let the media know to get out to the public that excused absentee voting starts in my office tomorrow. And it'll run for 6 days, and then we'll start unexcused absentee voting at the library next week, next Thursday.
What's the first day of voting?
Excused voting at the library is 16, 17, and 18, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Then the following week is
And no voting on Monday, and then the election's Tuesday.
Yeah, time goes flying by.
It is.
Coroner's report, Danielle.
I don't have a lot today. I was at the conference, the coroner's conference was last week, and then I left Friday, went to Phoenix for the weekend, so I'm gonna get briefed this afternoon when I get done with the meeting on how the week went.
County attorney report.
I don't have any, Judge.
Magistrate report, John.
I'm good, sir.
Jeff.
Report.
MT.
Thanks, Brad, road department, for making a couple fixes. District 3. Fairly, not fairly quickly, real quickly. Appreciate that.
Real quickly.
Real quick, yes.
How'd you get them to do that?
He doesn't ask us often.
If you ask,
That was a good response. Good response.
No report, please.
Keith.
I'd just like to know how MT gets everything done, don't I? No report other than that.
We've got on the judge's report, I have the school parochial transportation resolution. Do I need to read this thing, Rhonda?
I'm sorry. No, you don't have to read that.
Everybody got a copy of that?
Yeah.
Getting ready.
And basically by law, Rhonda, you go ahead and tell them why we have to do this.
Well, it's an agreement between the state and the county, and where we reimburse schools here locally for their transportation costs for non-public school students. We've been doing this as long as I've been here. I've looked at the program, been going for probably 20 years or more. So we just need a resolution that authorizes the county judge to accept the bills from the local schools for their costs, and the county will reimburse the school districts, and then we will submit for reimbursement to the state. Last year, we reimbursed the schools here locally $217,000, and the state reimbursed us 100% of the cost.
You basically, is if you send kids to, I guess it's a private or parochial school, we have to reimburse the school systems for the busing. Even though you're paying taxes and in most cases tuition, you still got to, then we got to come back and do this, which I think is 100% wrong, but that's what the law says. It happened under back in Mike Abel's time, that's before actually Dean got elected, and they started this process. There was a Supreme Court order somewhere that forced this issue, so I just kind of let everybody know that. I need a motion to accept this resolution.
I'll make the motion to accept the resolution on the public school.
Second.
Motion by John, second by Adam. Any more discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. The next meeting, we will meet on, wait a minute, I'm gonna back up a little bit. I've got a letter from Chris Jesse, is the state, I don't know what his title is, what's his name, Public Information Officer, telling anybody that has yard sale signs, political signs, and other promotional signs, basically any signs, they are restricted and should not be in the right of way. And they either will get removed, and in a lot of cases, probably get chopped up with the bush hogs. That's the reason they don't want them in the right of ways. They want them out of the right of ways and behind the ditches and whatever, so. And I guess most importantly, if they are doing something temporarily, yard sale or what have you, just be respectful and remove it when your sale's done. You see them put them up on telephone poles and
Leave them up for 3 months.
ditches and all that, and so I'm asking the public to at least pick them up. So the state's gonna be picking them up on theirs, and the county will be picking them up on ours in most of these cases. The next meeting is May the 21st, and I'm asking the court, typically our second meeting of the month is at 6 p.m. I'm asking the court to move it to 9 a.m. because it is election day, and it will be a special meeting, and I'll have to get that out a day or two before that, 24-hour notice, and whatever is on the agenda, we'll have to stay with that.
It's a special meeting because by ordinance, the second meeting is supposed to be at 6 o'clock, so we're changing that.
Right.
It'll have to treat it as a special meeting.
You need a motion.
I need a motion to do that, please.
I'll make a motion that we change this meeting time for May 21st meeting from 9 a.m.
Second.
Motion by Jeff, second by Keith. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Is that okay with you, Jeanette?
I'll have to ask the judge if he could get someone to take minutes on that meeting because I will be at the office all day.
We'll do that. Yes, ma'am. I'll do that.
Appreciate it.
Ron looks happy about
Ron's like,
Motion to, we need to go into executive session.
I'll make the motion, we go into executive session.
Second.
Motion by John, second by Adam, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Recess for 2 minutes.
Second.
Hang on a minute. Jim, you good? You ready? Can you do it again, Jeff?
I'll make a motion that we go out of executive session back into regular session.
Second.
Motion by Jeff, second by Adam, we're in regular session. Is there any more old or new business? Motion to go back in regular session. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. I have old or new business on the agenda. Anybody got anything under old or new business?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Adam. Second by Jeff, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.